Going back, Cain asks Ghislain what he meant when he said he wanted to educate him. Ghislain replied that, as he had said, he will educate him. He told Cain that it seems Cain is no match for him in swordsmanship, so Ghislain suggested they let him take a handicap. He told Cain they would have a bare-handed fight, which he excels at. Then Ghislain proposed something new. He said that instead of what was agreed upon, he would bet 2,000 more gold, twice the initial amount, that he would win. The crowd started murmuring among themselves, questioning what Ghislain meant by barehanded and about the extra 2,000 gold. They said the fight was supposed to be a duel to the death. The scout started sweating because of this, but still smiled after hearing it. He was happy that Ghislain dared to challenge Cain to a bare-handed fight. He thought he never expected to see the day when he would be grateful for Ghislain's insanity. For him, fortune was still on their side. The fat merchant shouted, telling everyone to place their additional bets. He announced that the event was a bare-handed fight between young Lord Ghislain and young Master Cain. The crowd said that since it's a bare-handed fight, they are going to bet on Cain. They said Ghislain challenging Cain in sheer force was outright foolish. But some people in the crowd said they were going to bet on young Lord Ghislain this time. Cain started laughing, asking Ghislain if he really meant a bare-handed fight. He told Ghislain that what he said made him laugh, but then Cain grabbed his great sword, unwilling to stoop so low. He told Ghislain he could go ahead and fight without a weapon. Cain threw his coat into the air, revealing his large, muscular body, as if he were the Hulk. Ghislain just stood there, looking at him. Belinda started shouting from the sidelines, calling Cain a trash bastard and urging Ghislain to pick up his sword too. Cain pulled his sword to gain momentum and told Ghislain to die, but Ghislain just looked at him and said he already expected this. He told Cain that, as he thought, he needed to knock some sense into him. Then Cain thrust his sword toward Ghislain, which the MC avoided. As Cain slowly pulled back his sword, Ghislain found an opening. He slid his foot to the side, like a boxer, and positioned himself at the open side of Cain's body. Ghislain then punched Cain's abdomen with a clean hit. But it didn't end there. He followed up with another punch. This time, it was a perfect uppercut, hitting Cain's chin, which completely knocked him down. In the end, Cain groaned and fell to his knees after just 2 punches. His face was a mix of emotions, as he started questioning what had happened. He wondered how someone like Ghislain could display such skillful movements. The crowd started cheering for Ghislain, saying the fight was intense and that young Master Ghislain might actually win the duel. Ghislain still looked down at Cain. He told him to get up, saying he hadn't even started yet. This irritated Cain, who gritted his teeth. Fueled by anger, he charged at Ghislain aggressively. However, all of Cain's slashes were useless against Ghislain, who effortlessly avoided them and found an opening in his attack. Ghislain grabbed Cain's arm, the one holding the sword, and with his smaller body, managed to flip the muscular Cain. Then he kicked Cain in the side, causing him significant pain. The kick was so powerful that it broke through Cain's muscular frame, causing him to start coughing up blood. Cain's emotions started swirling as he recalled how Ghislain couldn't even look him in the eye in the past. Ghislain used to bow down whenever he appeared, but now Cain was the one being humiliated. To him, killing Ghislain was necessary to secure the Logis family's future, but Cain had now become Ghislain's punching bag, receiving non-stop punches all over his body. It seemed he received hundreds of punches in a short moment, a flurry of blows, with the only sounds being Ghislain's punches landing and Cain's groaning. By the end, Cain was completely beaten down, his face swollen and bruised beyond recognition. Ghislain grabbed the hair of the arrogant man, looking at him and saying he pitied his father. He reminded Cain that Count Logis had helped Perdium even when it was on the verge of demise, just because he was friends with Ghislain's father. Ghislain told Cain that although his father wanted to help, his son had a different agenda in mind. This triggered a memory in Cain's mind, recalling a conversation from years ago. Back then, Cain had asked his father why he kept sending more support to Perdium. Cain argued that even if he was friends with Count Perdium, their own family was also struggling. He asks his father why he continues to invest in a land that is withering away. He says it is like pouring water into a cracked bucket. Cain tells his father that it hasn't been a week since he returned, and now he is already going back to help Perdium. His father remains silent, which annoys Cain somewhat. Cain urges his father not to go to Perdium. This shakes Cain's father. Cain tells his father that everyone is trying to stop him and asks why he keeps insisting on helping Perdium. His father remains silent for a moment, and the only answer he gives is that he is helping simply because they are friends. At that moment, Cain snaps back to his senses. He thinks about how there was no other reason his father gave him. While he contemplates, another punch is about to hit his head. In the end, Cain can only close his eyes because there is nothing he can do. Ghislain stops the punch and says that what he has done should educate him enough. With this, Cain opens his eyes. Ghislain offers his hand to Cain and tells him to get up. This is how men work after beating each other down. They are still friends. Cain is silent, looking at Ghislain's hand. Perhaps he feels ashamed of what he did in the past and begins to look down. In front of the crowd, he bows to Ghislain and admits his defeat. Everyone has different reactions to this, but most are in awe of what happened because it was so unexpected. The one most affected by this is the scout sent by the enemy, as his bet has failed this time. The announcer shouts that the young Lord Ghislain has won the battle. Others begin to say it's impossible as they lost their money on the bet, but those who bet on Ghislain are delighted that the young master won. The ones happiest are those close to him, Commander Scoven, Ricardo, Belinda, and his younger sister, Elena. However, someone starts shouting Cain's name while everyone is celebrating. It is a man who is completely enraged with Cain, blaming him and asking how he could admit defeat so early just because he was at a slight disadvantage. He asks Ghislain what he is doing because he trusted him. Why does this man blame him for admitting defeat when he can already see that Cain was totally beaten down? This desperate man begins to panic. Cain tells him to let him go, saying he is already done. This shocks the scout, who starts panicking and swearing under his breath. All he can say is that Cain is a weak little brat. Then Ghislain appears behind the scout, quite alarming him. Ghislain says that now he must do what he should have done. The escort knight asks Ghislain what he means. Ghislain calls for everyone's attention, announcing that the scout will be covering all the food and drinks for everyone who has gathered. The scout begins to panic upon hearing this. The crowd starts cheering, excited about the free food and drinks, saying it has been too long since they had a feast. They praise young Master Ghislain. Hearing that made the scout flinch, as if cold water had been thrown on him. The idea of treating everyone wasn't part of the deal. The scout tells Ghislain he did not agree to that and demands he retract the statement. Ghislain pats his shoulder, saying it's the price for losing the duel and asking if he has that much right now. Ghislain clarifies that it won't be deducted from the bet. He adds strength to his grip on the scout's shoulder, reminding him to add 2,000 gold to the initial 1,000 they set. Ghislain shows him the true killing intent of the former mercenary king, warning him of the consequences if he runs. The scout starts panting heavily, feeling Ghislain's killing intent and looking at him with fear. He can only agree, saying he understands, and Ghislain walks away as the matter is resolved. The next day, something happened in Ghislain's room. A large chest had been placed on his table after the battle, which seemed to be his reward. He slowly opened the chest, and inside, Ghislain saw a large pile of gold coins. Ghislain holds the money in his hand, thinking he could hire a small mercenary corps with this much money. He realizes it isn't a small amount. He closes the chest, thinking about how long it takes to grow wealth and knows the enemies won't wait for him. Ghislain thinks that to realize the business he has in mind, he needs to prepare quickly. But it seems that those who want a share of the money suddenly appear, as Belinda and Elena stand beside Ghislain without him even noticing. Ghislain starts sweating, thinking it might be bad news. He asks them what the matter is. Elena, with a joyful face, asks her big brother where he plans on spending all that money. Ghislain asks if she wants some. Elena replies that she doesn't want it and was just asking. Belinda says it's already obvious where he'll use that kind of money. But Ghislain is confused because he doesn't know what Belinda means. Belinda tells him that Lady Amelia's birthday is soon, adding that he must have put on such a show because he wants to buy her a very expensive present. Belinda says that Ghislain is so transparent. Elena, looking disgusted, comments on how he's doing all this just to look good for his future wife. However, the person they are talking about doesn't know this, and with a very confused face, all he can ask himself is if he actually has a betrothed because maybe he doesn't remember.